Girl, let me tell you something. That day still sits in my chest like a heavy stone I can't spit out. The smell of lemon cleaner and mop water, that's how it started. I was bent over somebody else's marble floor, scrubbing a streak that wouldn't quit, thinking about the chicken I left thawing back home, when the doorbell chimed all fancy. Ding dong. And Lord, I ain't know that sound could bring a storm with it. I wiped my hands on my apron, pushed my hair under my scarf, and opened the door. And there she was, Tacia Rose. Haven't seen her since high school. Back then, she was the girl who floated through hallways like she owned oxygen. Now she stood there, wearing a beige designer coat, big gold hoops swinging, two of her girlfriends behind her giggling like background music. "Wait, is that Ora Mae?" she said, all teeth and perfume. "Girl, I thought you moved to Atlanta or something. You still cleanin' houses?" That pause before cleanin' cut sharper than any bleach burn. I smiled anyway. "Work's work, Tacia. Keeps the lights on." She stepped in, heels clicking like applause, looked around the client's living room like she owned it. Phew, must be rough, though. I can't even imagine scrubbing folks' toilets for a living. My housekeeper does that. But hey, good for you staying humble. Her friends laughed, soft, fake, polite, but it still stung. And right there, behind me, my granddaughter Ania popped her little head out the hallway. 8 years old, pigtails full of beads, staring with those wide eyes that ask questions you pray they never gotta know the answers to. Tacia saw her too. "Aw, that your lil' helper?" she asked, voice syrupy. I straightened up. "That's my grandbaby. She's just visitin'." Tacia gave a half smile. "Well, maybe she'll do something better one day." Something in my chest twisted, but I wasn't going to give her the show she wanted. So I turned back to my mop bucket. Maybe she already will. While I mopped, I could hear Tacia whispering to her girls, loud enough for me to catch every third word. So sad. Wasted potential. Still scrubbing floors. The words rolled off her tongue like lint from silk. I wanted to say something slick, but what good would it do? People like Tacia don't listen. They perform. Still, when she left, leaving that cloud of perfume and judgment hanging behind her, I looked at that spotless floor and felt dirtier than it ever did. That night, I sat on the edge of my bed, light flickering, 'cause the bulb was older than my patience, and replayed the scene. Ania had gone to sleep at Joylene's, thank God. Me, I just sat there whispering to myself like prayer. They gon' laugh now, but one day I'ma own something with my name on it. One day I'ma walk in a room they cleanin' for me. The walls didn't answer, but something in my bones did. It was quiet but sure, like the sound a seed makes underground before it breaks open. Next morning, sun barely up, I went to work at another client's house. Same old story, different zip code. While scrubbing the kitchen tile, my phone buzzed with a text from my eldest boy, Marcus. "Ma, you still doing that cleaning stuff? Thought you'd retire by now." I just stared at it. Retire? From what? Bills? Life? I typed back slow, "Baby, I retire when my name on something I built." He left me on red. See, Marcus had moved to Houston talking big about investments and real estate. But every other month, he needed me to lend him money for something urgent. The boy had pride, but no plan. And deep down, I knew he was embarrassed by me. He'd never say it, but I could feel it. He never introduced me to his friends, never posted me on his socials unless it was Mother's Day. So that day, I worked harder, scrubbed like I was polishing my own name into that floor. Late afternoon, I stopped by Aunt Shine's house. She the kind of woman whose advice smelled like collard greens and peppermint. She saw the look on my face soon as I walked in. "Baby, who done stirred your spirit this time?" "Tacia Rose," I said, dropping my bag on the couch. "Ran her mouth about me cleaning houses." Aunt Shine laughed, big, thundering laugh. "Girl, you letting somebody with rented happiness make you feel small? Nah, ma'am." I sighed, still hurt though. She handed me a sweet tea. "Let it. Paint'll polish you if you let it. Folks mocking you today gon' be asking you for work tomorrow. Watch." Years would prove her right, but right then, I didn't know that. All I knew was the sting. That night I told myself I'd start saving for a van, maybe get a business license. Didn't matter how small, it'd be mine. I wrote Ora's Cleaning Angels on a sticky note and stuck it to the fridge. Every morning after, I'd look at it before leaving for work. Cut to 20 years later, present day. Camera opens on sunlight pouring through a clean kitchen window. Older Ora Mae, me, pouring coffee, hair wrapped neat, soft cardigan, hands still strong. House big enough to echo. I run a company now. 5 vans, 13 employees, clients all over the county. And wouldn't you know it, life came full circle that Thursday morning. Doorbell rang. I walked over, cup in hand, opening the door, and froze. There, standing on my porch with a mop bucket and a nervous smile, was Tasha Rose. Her uniform read, Bright Spark Cleaning Service. Her nails chipped, eyes tired, voice small. "Hi, ma'am," she said. "We're here for the deep clean appointment." My coffee almost slipped from my hand. Baby, I ain't one for petty, but God sure got a sense of humor. For a heartbeat, we both just stood there. Me on the porch in my robe, her in that wrinkled company polo that used to be my kind of uniform. Funny how life spins the wheel. "Morning," I finally said, cool and polite. "You must be the new crew Bright Spark sent?" She nodded quick, eyes darting anywhere but mine. "Yes, ma'am. The boss said this is a big account, real important client." "Well," I said, smiling a little, "I suppose it is." Behind her stood 2 younger women waiting awkwardly, holding buckets and vacuums. They didn't know our history. They just looked tired and ready to get it done. I stepped aside, motioning them in. "Y'all come on, floors ain't gonna clean themselves." Tasha hesitated, then stepped past me, smelling like cheap citrus cleaner instead of that designer perfume she used to drown in. The sound of her rubber soles squeaking on my marble floor, whew, felt like karma tapping a tambourine. I led them toward the kitchen, talking easy, acting like my heartbeat wasn't drumming in my ears. "Supplies are in that closet if you need extras. I like my baseboards spotless, and don't forget the tops of them cabinets." "Yes, ma'am," she muttered. "You remember when you used to call me ma'am?" I asked, half smiling. "Nah, I don't think you ever did." She froze, looked up, face flushing. "Ora, Mrs. May, I didn't realize this was your house." "Oh, I figured that out," I said, leaning against the counter. "World's small, ain't it?" Silence. You could hear the hum of the fridge and the tick of that fancy wall clock, soundtrack to somebody's pride breaking down. One of her co-workers whispered, "Tay, you good?" She nodded fast. "Yeah, I'm fine. Let's just get started." I could have let her drown in that awkward air, but truth is, I ain't never been cruel. So I handed her a bottle of polish and said, "Windows first. They catch the sunrise. You'll want to see it." She blinked, surprised at the kindness. "Thank you." Inside, though, my memories were playing like a highlight reel. Her laughing in that rich woman's kitchen 20 years back, the words, "You still cleanin' houses," looping like a bad song. Later that day, I sat on my porch swing watching them through the window, Tasha wiping glass, bending low, hair tied back plain. Ania, now grown and fresh out of college, stepped outside with her tablet. "Grandma, who's the lady cleanin'?" I took a sip of my coffee. "Just somebody I used to know." She looked familiar. "Yeah," I said. "Life got a funny way of reintroducing folks." Anya grinned. "You petty, Grandma?" "Maybe a little," I laughed. "But I'm also blessed." Flashbacks slid in like a movie dissolve. Me, years ago, riding home on the city bus, mop handle sticking out the aisle, smell of bleach following me everywhere. My hands cracked from detergent. I'd be counting crumpled bills, praying the landlord would give me one more week. People looked right through me. That kind of invisibility makes you strong, though. Teaches you to see everything. Back then, Tasha's name popped up on local radio, her husband's dealership sponsoring some charity ball. I remember thinking, good for her. Even when I was mad, I still wished her well. Guess that's why God trusted me with the full circle moment later. Back to the present. Around noon, I brought out lemonade for the crew. The 2 younger girls thanked me, but Tasha kept her head down. I could tell pride was fighting with exhaustion. "Take a break," I told them. "Ain't no good cleaning when your stomach's growling." They sat on the porch steps. Sunlight hit Tasha's face, and for the first time I noticed the lines around her mouth. Stress marks, not laugh lines. Life had pressed on her same as it did on me back then. "You got a nice place," one of the younger cleaners said between sips. "How long you been here?" "Bought it 5 years ago," I said. "Built my company from scratch." Tasha's eyes lifted, confusion writ across her face. "Your company?" "Mm-hmm. Ora's cleaning angels. Maybe you heard of it. The two young women gasped. Oh, y'all the ones with them teal vans and the angel logo? My aunt applied there. I smiled modest. That's us. We stay busy. Tasha stared into her cup, whispering, Guess you really made it. Guess so, I said softly. Funny, huh? The younger girls went inside, leaving us alone on the steps. Wind rustled the trees, quiet but charged. Tasha sighed. I owe you an apology. I waved a hand. You don't owe me nothing but honesty. I was young and stupid, she said. Thought money made me better. Didn't realize how fast it disappears. I didn't gloat, just nodded. We all learn somehow. Then, trying to lighten it, I said, Hey, if you liken this work, my company always hiring. Pays fair. Benefits, too. Her eyes widened. You serious? Girl, I don't joke about business. You work hard, you got a shot. Everybody deserves a reset. She gave a shaky laugh. I don't even know what to say. Say you'll show up on time, I teased. That's a start. For a second, that same laugh I remembered from high school flickered back. This time small, real, human. That evening after they left, I stood by the window watching her climb into that old van. The sunset hit the glass, and for a blink, her reflection lined up with mine. Two women on different sides of the same story. I whispered, Thank you, God, for letting me see this part. And to whoever watching this on the channel right now, if you still here listening, hey, I appreciate you. Don't forget to hit that little red button if you feel me. 'Cause stories like this, they real life, and we got plenty more coming. Now where was I? Oh yeah, that day wasn't just about revenge. It was about seeing how far hard work can carry you when folks doubt you. Next morning, my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. Hi, Ms. Ora Mae. This Tasha. Thank you again for the lemonade yesterday. I've been thinking, can we talk sometime? I stared at it for a long while, thumb hovering over the screen. Then I typed back, Sure, come by the office tomorrow. We open at 9. Didn't even add no smiley face. Let Grace do the talking. Cut to the next day. Downtown, sunlight hitting the Aura's Cleaning Angels sign, letters gleaming like I polished them myself. Inside, Joy leans at reception, hair in a puff, headset on, sounding like she owned the place. Marcus had just left for a client meeting. He finally working for the family business now. Funny what humility can fix when pride can't. The doorbell jingled, and there she was again. Tasha Rose, wearing the same polo but washed, ironed, hair pulled neat. She clutched her resume in one hand, nerves trembling all over. Come on in, I said, motioning toward the chair across my desk. Thank you for seeing me. I always got time for folks trying to do better, I said, settling back. So, what brings you here? You applying or just visiting memory lane? She smiled faintly. Both, maybe. I want to work, steady work. I'm tired of switching jobs. Can you take orders from somebody you used to mock? Her eyes dropped. I deserve that. I leaned forward. Tasha, this company ain't built on revenge. It's built on redemption. If you serious, we'll train you. Tears welled up. One slipped down her cheek before she could stop it. I am serious, she whispered. You don't know what this means. Sure I do, I said softly. I've been where you standin'. Difference is I never stopped cleaning. I just started owning what I cleaned. She laughed through her tears. That's real. Camera cuts, montage of her first weeks on payroll. She's mopping halls, learning routes, joking with the crew. Joylene teaching her shortcuts. Anaya dropping by with lunch. Aunt Shine swinging through the office like the queen she is, blessing the floors with sass and prayer. Baby, Aunt Shine told me, you teaching Grace better than any church sermon I heard this month. I grinned. Maybe Dirt the real preacher. By month's end, the crew thriving, business booming, contracts rolling in. One afternoon, I'm going through paperwork when Marcus steps in. Ma, that new girl Tashia, she used to be somebody, huh? Still is somebody, I said. Just took life a minute to remind her. He chuckled. You something else. Boy, go finish them invoices. And just when everything seemed calm, a letter came. Big fancy envelope, gold trim. Inside was an invitation. Residential cleaning services bid, Rose Estates. I froze. Rose Estates. Her old mansion. The same one where she'd laughed at me 20 years ago. Marcus peeked over my shoulder. You gonna take it? Baby, I said, breath steadying. We already booked it. Camera zooms in on the paper, my signature gliding across it. Voiceover Ora Mae. Sometimes God don't give you closure in words. He give it to you in contracts. I sat on my porch swing, stars blinking like little secrets, thinking about what tomorrow would bring. Anya came out, slid next to me. "Grandma, you nervous?" "Not nervous," I said. "Just grateful. The same floor she mocked me for cleaning? Tomorrow it's going to be my company polishing it." Anya laughed. "You gotta record that for the channel." I winked. "Girl, this is the channel." We both laughed till the crickets drowned us out. If you still watching right now, bless your heart. Go on, hit that subscribe and bell, 'cause the next part, woo, it's about to get messy in all the right ways. You ever notice how memories hit you different when you about to level up? That night before the Rose Estates job, I couldn't sleep. The air felt thick, like the whole house holding its breath. So I made some tea and sat by the window, watching the streetlights shimmer on my driveway. And just like that, I was back there, 20-some years ago, before the company, before the van, before the peace. Back then, I was living in a cramped duplex with walls thin enough to hear the neighbors' arguments through. My kids were grown mostly, but somehow the bills still called my name louder than they did. Joylene, my middle girl, was working nights at the hospital. She'd drop Anaya off before her shift and say, "Mama, don't let her stay up late." I'd nod, smiling, even though we both knew that child never saw a bedtime she liked. I had 2 regular cleaning clients, one sweet old lady, one rude lawyer who treated me like a ghost. The lawyer's house paid more, so I bit my tongue and scrubbed anyway. You ever swallow disrespect 'cause rent due? That kind of silence'll age you quick. Sometimes I'd hum while I worked, just to remind myself I still had a voice. One Friday, after cleaning that lawyer's place, I stopped by the grocery store with $10 left to my name. Right in front of the checkout line stood Tasha Rose, new car keys swinging, cart full of fancy cheeses, smelling like the mall. She spotted me. "Ora Mae, you still around here?" "Yeah, just grabbing a few things." She looked at my cart, bread, milk, bleach, then hers, wine, shrimp, candles. "Girl, you gotta treat yourself sometimes," she said. "Life too short to live cheap." I smiled thin. "Well, sometimes cheap's what keep you alive." She laughed, thinking I was joking. I wasn't. That night, I came home and counted what little I had. Joylene's rent was late again. Caleb needed books for class. Marcus hadn't called in months. I wrote down every debt on a torn envelope and whispered, "Lord, give me a way." And wouldn't you know it, next morning, Aunt Shine showed up knocking. "Get dressed, baby," she said. "I got something for you." She drove me clear across town to a church fair. Under one tent, some folks from a local small business program were giving out applications for free workshops. "Start your own hustle," the banner read. I hesitated. "Auntie, that's for people with money." She side-eyed me. "No, that's for people with fight. You got that, don't you?" I did. I just forgot for a while. So I filled it out. Cut to a few months later, I'm sitting in a community center classroom with 12 other dreamers, learning how to budget, market, and price services. I ain't understand half the lingo, but every word felt like oxygen. Teacher said, "You don't need capital, you need consistency." That one stuck with me. After class, I started collecting old supplies. Borrowed buckets, leftover rags, a used vacuum from Craigslist. Joylene laughed when she saw the pile. "Mama, you opening a janitor museum?" "Nah," I said, "a legacy." Meanwhile, life kept testing me. Marcus called, voice sharp. "Ma, you still cleaning? Folks think I can't take care of my family." I breathed slow. "Baby, your pride don't pay my bills." He hung up. I cried after, not 'cause of what he said, but 'cause I knew he believed it. Weeks later, I got my first unofficial client, through word of mouth at church, Miss Delilah Harris. House smelled like mothballs and memories. She said, "You do baseboards?" "Yes, ma'am. I do miracles too, if you pay a little extra." She laughed so hard she gave me a $20 tip. When I left, I sat in my car, well, my friend's borrowed car, counting that tip money and whispering, "It's startin', Lord." Fast forward a bit. One Sunday after service, Tasha Rose strutted in with her husband, diamonds flashing. She walked past me like I was invisible, but Aunt Shine caught her eye. Aunt Shine whispered, "She glitterin' like gold-plated plastic." I almost choked on my communion cup. Back home that night, I looked at my fridge. The sticky note with Ora's cleaning angels had curled at the edges. I smoothed it flat again and added a halo doodle above the letters. Sometimes you gotta draw your own light till it shows up for real. That next month, Joylene and I saved up enough to print 50 flyers. We walked door to door passing them out, sweating through the summer heat. Some folks smiled, some shut the door. One man said, "We already got a cleaner." Joylene muttered, "You gon' have us out here faintin' for nothin'." I said, "Faith ain't faintin', baby, it's plantin'." She rolled her eyes but kept handing out flyers. 2 weeks later, the phone rang, our first official booking. I screamed so loud Ania dropped her cereal bowl. That little gig turned into 3, then 5. Before long, I needed help. Joylene quit the hospital job and joined full-time. We shared one vacuum, one car, and one dream. Camera pans over stacks of receipts, late-night coffee, Ora Mae and Joylene laughing over spreadsheets they don't understand. Voiceover. Sometimes success don't show up with trumpets. Sometimes it sneak in quiet, smelling like pine sol and hope. And that was just the start. But back then, I ain't know that Tasia Rose's perfect world was already crackin'. Her husband's business slippin', credit cards crying for mercy. We was both cleanin' something. I just happened to be cleanin' up my future. That year felt like the longest summer of my life. The kind where sweat and faith mix till you can't tell one from the other. But baby, that phone kept ringin'. Every call meant another kitchen, another chance. Joylene started getting fancy with it. Brought index cards, made schedules. "Ma, we gotta start thinking like a business," she said, squinting at the notebook. "Invoices, supplies, tax write-offs." I blinked. "Write-offs? Girl, I'm still trying to write on." She laughed, but that's when it hit me. We were really doing it. Not dreaming, doing. By fall, we landed a small commercial contract, a dentist's office downtown. The owner was this serious white lady named Mrs. Klein. Paid on time, expected miracles. After our first week, she handed me a check and said, "Ms. May, if you keep this standard, you'll go far." That Ms. May hit different. Nobody ever put a title on my name like that before. I walked out that office taller. Meanwhile, Marcus was still acting like my success embarrassed him. He called one night, voice tight. "Ma, you out here with flyers on poles? Folks from church calling asking if my mama cleaned bathrooms. That ain't right." I took a breath. "Marcus, folks from church got bathrooms, don't they?" Silence. Then he said, "I just thought you'd want more." "I do want more," I said. "That's why I'm building it." He hung up again. Joylene looked up from the couch. "You still let him get to you?" "Mama's heart don't know no off switch," I said, rubbing my temples. "But one day he gon' see what all this scrubbing bought him." Cut to a week later, Joylene and I inside the dentist office late night, music low, smell of disinfectant and dreams. I paused, leaning on the mop. "Baby, you realize we our own bosses now?" She smiled, tired but proud. "Yeah, ain't nobody clocking us but Jesus." I laughed. "And he don't pay overtime." Word of mouth spread. A pastor's wife hired us, then a realtor, then a small hotel. Pretty soon, folks started asking for Ora Mae by name. That first time someone said, "We heard you the best," I had to turn away so they wouldn't see the tears. But success ain't smooth. Bills still late, van broke down, and Caleb, my baby boy, was talking about quitting school to help. "Don't you dare," I told him. "You finish what you started. Let me worry about mop buckets." He hugged me tight. "I just don't like seeing you tired all the time." "Baby," I said, "tired ain't the same as hopeless. Long as I got breath, I got motion." Around that time, I bumped into Tasia again at a community fundraiser. She looked flawless. New dress, bright lipstick, still floating like she owned gravity. Her husband stood beside her, phone glued to his ear. "Ora Mae," she chirped, kissing the air near my cheek. "How you been? Still cleanin'?" I smiled, cool. "Still buildin'." She laughed that laugh, thin and sharp. "Well, good luck with that." I wanted to tell her luck ain't got nothing to do with it, but Aunt Shine's voice echoed in my head. "Grace over grit, baby. Let the work talk." So I just smiled. "You take care now." A month later, the whisper started. Her husband's dealership was in trouble. People said taxes, said loans, said karma. I ain't celebrate, but I sure listened. That same week, I signed my first real office lease. Tiny space over a laundromat, but it had my name on the door. Aura's Cleaning Angels, LLC. I ran my hand over the letters, heart pounding. "We official now," I whispered. Joylene whooped so loud the neighbors clapped. Inside, we had 2 desks, one printer that jammed more than it worked, and a corkboard full of dreams. We taped up new goals, hire 2 more employees, buy a used van, expand to weekend clients. Aunt Shine came by, looking around proud. "Lord, look at y'all, from mop bucket to manager's chair." She sat, fanning herself. "You know what's funny? The same folks laughing at you gon' start asking for discounts soon." I smirked. They already have. Life got busy. I'd leave the house before dawn, check job sites, answer calls while eating breakfast bars. Sometimes I'd catch my reflection in a store window, sweaty, hair tied back, eyes tired but glowing. "Keep going," I'd tell myself. "Ain't nobody else gonna build this dream for you." Then one morning, the news hit. Tashia's husband filed bankruptcy. Their fancy house listed for sale. Cars gone. She vanished from socials. Joylene showed me the article. "Mama, that the same woman who—" "Don't finish that sentence," I said, folding the paper. "We don't gloat, we grow." But deep down, I felt the universe click, like a broom sweeping up the past. Within a year, business tripled. We hired 5 women, single moms, retirees, girls trying to get off the street. I trained each one myself. "We don't just clean houses," I told them. "We clean energy. Leave every room lighter than you found it." They laughed but listened. Customers started leaving notes. "Thank you, Ms. May. My home feels peaceful again." That's when I realized we wasn't selling cleanliness, we was selling comfort. One night, after a long shift, I sat with Joylene on the couch, TV humming, tea steam rising. She said, "Mama, you ever think about quittin', just restin'?" I shook my head. "Not yet. I ain't reached the porch swing part of my life. That comes later, when the lessons finish teaching." She smiled. "Well, I think you halfway there." Maybe she was right, but I knew there was still one chapter left unfinished, the one with Tashia's name on it. Winter crept in soft that year, but my hustle stayed loud. We were cleaning 3 office parks, a daycare, and 3 regular homes by Christmas. Joylene had learned payroll spreadsheets like a pro, Caleb was helping evenings between classes, and I'd even convinced Aunt Shine to answer the phone line when I couldn't. "You callin' the right number, sugar," she'd say in that church lady drawl. "Ora's cleanin' angels, where we dust sin and polish blessings." Clients loved her. I swear half our bookings came from her mouth alone. December 23rd, I was dropping off checks when my phone buzzed. Marcus, that same son who barely spoke unless he needed something. "Hey, Ma," he said, voice lower than usual. "Listen, I got laid off. The company folded. I just need a little help till I find something." I leaned against the steering wheel, watching the snow starting to fall. "Marcus, baby, I can pay your rent this month," I said. "But you gon' have to work for it. I need somebody to do supply runs." Silence on the line. Then, "You want me delivering bleach and mops?" "I want you earning your keep. Pride don't buy groceries." He sighed long, but he said, "All right, Ma, I'll start tomorrow." And he did. Showed up in his pressed jeans looking like humility hurt his back. By the end of that week, though, he was joking with the crew. "Sometimes falling ain't failure. It's gravity teaching you balance." That January, I finally bought our first real van. White paint, teal logo, slogan across the back, grace in every space. When I saw my name on that door, I cried so hard Caleb said, "Ma, you act like you won the lottery." I said, "Baby, I did. I just had to mop for the ticket." Meanwhile, rumors swirled that Tashia was back in town, living quiet. Folks said she'd moved into a smaller apartment and started working part-time at a hotel front desk. I thought about reaching out, but some wounds need silence to heal first. Still, every time I drove past Rose Estates, her old mansion sitting behind them iron gates, I'd whisper, "One day." Not revenge, just full-circle peace. Spring rolled in, and with it came new contracts and headaches. Employees quarreling, equipment breaking, bills stacking. I was learning that being the boss don't mean freedom. It mean responsibility with lipstick on. One night, I sat in the office alone, receipts everywhere, calculator flashing red. Joylene knocked. "You okay, Ma?" I rubbed my temples. "We growing faster than the money." She sat across from me. "You told me once pressure makes diamonds. Maybe this, that part." I smiled weakly. "Baby, I hope God keep the polish gentle." Next week, a realtor called about a high-end listing. Needed deep cleaning before an open house. When she said the address, I almost dropped my pen. Rose Estates. Is that a problem? She asked. No, ma'am, I said, steadying my breath. That's a blessing. I hung up and stared at the calendar. 20 years, same house, same floors. Only this time I wasn't the help. I was the boss sending the help. That night I drove to Aunt Shine's for supper. She had green simmerin' and gospel hummin'. When I told her the address, she clapped so loud the spoon hit the floor. See? Didn't I tell you God keep receipts? I laughed. I ain't trying to gloat. Baby, this ain't gloatin'. This grace. She leaned close. But don't you rub it in. Clean them floors like you clean your conscience, quiet and thorough. I nodded. Yes, ma'am. Next morning, I met with the team. We got a big one, I said. Rose Estates. Keep it professional. We ain't just cleaning a house. We showin' what redemption look like with gloves on. They hollered and high-fived. Marcus rolled his shoulders like a linebacker. Let's go make them floors beg for mercy, he joked. We laughed, but deep inside I was trembling. Not from fear, from closure creeping near. On the drive there, radio playing old soul tunes, snow melting off the windshield. I thought about every insult, every doubt, every sleepless night I prayed for a door. And here I was, key in hand, about to open the same one that once slammed my dignity. Camera. Van pulls up the long driveway of Rose Estates. Birds scatter, sunlight flickers across the marble columns. Ora Mae, older now, shoulders square, steps out, clipboard in hand. Marcus unloads supplies. Crew chattering. She inhales slow. Voiceover. Sometimes your past don't haunt you. It hires you. Inside, dust motes dance through light beams. Furniture draped in sheets. The place feel hollow, like pride moved out and forgot to leave a forwarding address. I trace a finger across the mantel. Same spot I once scrubbed on my knees while laughter echoed behind me. Marcus whistles low. This place fancy. Used to be, I murmur. Now it's just big. He glances at me. You good, Ma? I'm perfect, baby. Just remember this moment. What folks think of you today don't mean nothing 'bout where you end up tomorrow. He nods slow. Guess I'm learning that too. Cut to montage. The crew cleaning room by room, polishing chandeliers, vacuuming carpets. Ora Mae standing by the window, watching her reflection merge with the house's glass. That's when a shadow crosses the doorway. Female voice. Excuse me, you the owner? Ora Mae turns and freezes. Tayshia Rose. Uniform on, company badge reading Bright Spark Cleaning Service. Eyes wide, mouth partway open, same woman, different world. And right there, baby, the story stopped being about cleaning floors. It started being about cleaning hearts. For a second, neither of us breathed. Just sunlight spilling through them tall windows, dust floating between us like the ghosts of every word she ever threw my way. Tayshia clutched her mop like it might protect her. Ora Mae! Her voice wavered, soft, unsure, not the high-heel confidence she used to wear. Yeah, I said, slow. That's me. Welcome back to Rose Estates. She swallowed hard. You own this place? Nah, baby, I said, smiling. Not the house, just the contract. I pointed toward my van parked out front, logo glinting. That's mine. Her eyes dropped to the floor. Lord! I could tell she wanted the ground to swallow her whole. Pride'll do that, make you heavy in the wrong places. I didn't want to embarrass her in front of my crew, so I said, calm. We got separate tasks today. You take the east wing. My team will handle the rest. She nodded, voice barely there. Yes, ma'am. That ma'am hit me deep, like history apologizing without words. Marcus came in with supplies, saw her, and raised an eyebrow. Ain't she? Marcus, I cut in, eyes sharp. Mind your mops. He smirked. Yes, boss. Hours passed. Vacuum hum, glass squeak, bucket sloshing. I moved through rooms checking corners, signing off checklists, pretending I wasn't listening for her footsteps. In one of the bedrooms, I found her dusting the blinds. She jumped when she saw me. I didn't mean to stare, I said. Just making sure the light get through. She laughed awkward. You always did like sunlight. Still do, reminds me I made it out the shadows. She nodded, eyes misty. I've been living in shade too long. Later, while the crew took lunch outside, I wandered through the living room. This was the same space where she'd once stood laughing while I scrubbed her floor. The memory replayed itself in the reflection of the polished marble. Back then, I'd felt small. Today, I felt steady. I heard her footsteps behind me. Can we talk? She asked. Sure, I said, turnin', long as you don't mind honesty. She sighed. I deserve it. We sat on them same steps I used to clean on my knees. She stared at her hands. When I saw you that day, I didn't know how to act. I was jealous, embarrassed. My whole life was falling apart and I took it out on you. I know, I said. I've been somebody's punching bag before. She blinked, surprised at how gentle my tone was. You not mad? Baby, I was, for a long time, but anger heavy. I had floors to mop and dreams to lift, couldn't carry both. She chuckled through tears. You talk like you read a self-help book. Nah, I said, just read bills. We both laughed, real this time, not that old fake kind that cuts. Outside, Marcus hollered, Ma, we done here! I stood. All right, let's wrap it up. Tasia rose too. You need any extra help, I can stay late. Nah, I said kindly. You go rest. You got another day tomorrow? She nodded. If they don't lay me off. Tell your boss Ora Mae said you solid. That might buy you some time. Her lip trembled. Why you so nice to me after how I treated you? I smiled. 'Cause God ain't petty, and I'm trying to act like him more lately. People think revenge feel good, but mercy lasts longer. Next morning, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Ms. May, this is Bright Spark's manager. You sure know how to send references. Tasia's one of our best workers now. Appreciate your call. I smiled. That's good to hear. Hung up, looked out the window, whispered, Aunt Shine was right again. But the story wasn't done. 2 weeks later, I got a call from a client asking for emergency cleaning. Big spill at the city office, water everywhere. We rushed over. Guess who was already there, mop in hand, working for another company on overtime? Tasia. We both busted out laughing when we saw each other. Girl, you following me? I said. She grinned, breathless. You the one hogging all the good contracts. We cleaned side by side like old co-workers instead of enemies. Talked about kids, church, the price of eggs. Every laugh felt like something healing. Halfway through, the building supervisor came by. You ladies from Ora's Angels? He asked. I said, yes, sir. He pointed at Tasia. Hire this one. She's sharp. You two make a strong team. She looked at me, eyes wide. He serious? I nodded slow. Guess so. You ready to fly with the angels? She burst out laughing. Lord, never thought I'd see the day. Well, buckle up, I said. Halo comes with hard work. That night, sitting in my car, I thought about how life will humble you, then heal you if you let it. Sometimes the same hands that mocked you end up working beside you, polishing the same floor. The secret to peace ain't power. It's forgiveness with a paycheck attached. By spring, business was rolling so smooth it scared me. Every time my phone rang, it was a new client, a new chance, another door creaking open that used to be nailed shut. I started waking up before my alarm just to plan the day. You know you blessed when ambition beat the clock. Tasia joined the crew officially that month. I gave her one of the teal shirts, still crisp from the box. She stared at the angel logo like it was holy scripture. You sure about this, Ora Mae? She asked. You trust me after everything? I smiled. Baby, trust don't mean forgetting. It mean moving anyway. She nodded. Guess I'm ready to move. First few weeks, folks side-eyed her. Some of my older cleaners whispered, that's that woman who talked bad about Ms. May back in the day. I heard 'em, but I let time do the talking. Tasia worked quiet, head down, always early, stayed late, never complained. When clients complimented her, she'd say, all Ora Mae taught me. Humility looked good on folks who used to wear arrogance. One Friday, the team was wrapping a downtown office job when Joylene pulled me aside. Mama, she said. I didn't want to say nothing, but Marcus been acting funny again. He said something about maybe starting his own cleaning business. I blinked. His own? She nodded. He say he tired of taking orders from you. That hit me like a bucket of cold water. Not 'cause of competition, but 'cause I thought he finally understood the value of work. Later that night, I called him. Marcus, you really planning to go solo? Ma, it ain't like that, he said quick. I just think I could expand. Different name, same clients. You know, keep it in the family. I laughed dry. Baby, you can't keep something in the family by stealing it. He got quiet. Then, you always act like I can't do nothing without you. Marcus, I said softly, I act like I've been doing everything with you, hoping you'd notice. Click. He hung up. I sat there staring at the phone, hurt settlin' heavy. Success don't mean the storms stop, it just mean you can afford better umbrellas. Next morning, I showed up at the warehouse early. Tacia was already there, loading supplies. "You okay?" she asked. "You look like somebody stole your shine." I chuckled. "Maybe they borrowed it. I'll get it back." She studied me. "You know, my oldest son did the same thing to me once. Took money from our account trying to start his own business. Failed in 2 months. Came home broke. I forgave him. But Lord, that sting stayed." I nodded slow. "Maybe God put us in the same mop bucket to rinse out the same pain." She laughed. "Girl, you sound like a preacher." "Maybe I'm just seasoned." That weekend, we had our annual staff cookout. Paper plates, ribs, laughter, the whole crew showing up with their families. Aunt Shine arrived wearing a hat so big it deserved its own zip code. She hugged me tight. "Baby, look at what you built. Don't let nothing or nobody make you question it." "I'm trying," I said. Then she whispered, "That boy of yours gon' come around. Pride got a short shelf life." Sure enough, 2 weeks later, Marcus called. "Ma, can we talk?" We met at the diner off Route 18, same booth we always used when the world got too loud. He looked tired, eyes hollow. "I messed up," he said. "Tried to take one of your clients. They called you instead. Said they only trust Ora Mae." I didn't gloat, just reached across the table. "You hungry?" He frowned. "That's it?" "Baby, forgiveness cheaper than breakfast. Let's eat." He laughed through his guilt. "You something else, Ma. That's what they keep saying." Meanwhile, Tacia kept thriving. She brought in 2 new contracts through folks she knew from her old life. When I handed her the bonus envelope, she started crying. "I ain't had nobody believe in me for years," she said. "Get used to it," I told her. "We believe around here." A few nights later, I was closing up the office when she lingered by the door. "You ever think about why God flipped our lives like this?" she asked. "Every day," I said. "Maybe he wanted to show us dirt don't define you. It just reveal what's underneath." She smiled, wiped her eyes. "You should put that on a t-shirt." "Already did," I grinned. "Staff uniforms next month." We was building more than a business. We was building back people. But life don't let you coast too long. One Monday morning, a letter arrived. City tender notice for $1 million contract. Municipal facilities maintenance. Biggest bid of my life. Joylene gasped when she saw the number. "Mama, this the one. If we get this, we set." I smiled slow. "Then we gon' get it." But down in the corner of that letter, I saw another bidder's name. Bright Spark Cleaning Service. Tacia's old employer. The same one that had her scrubbing floors the day she showed up at my porch. I looked at her name on my payroll list, then back at that letter. Karma had circled again, but this time I'd have to decide whose side of it I was on. When that bid notice landed on my desk, my first thought wasn't money, it was history knocking. Bright Spark Cleaning Service, the same folks that once sent Tacia to my porch with a mop bucket. Now they was gunning for the biggest deal I'd ever touched. Joylene read over my shoulder. "Mama, you think we can beat 'em?" "Baby, I've been beating the odds since payphones cost $0.25, I said. But inside my chest, my heart was tapping Morse code. I called a meeting that night. Crew crowded the office. Marcus, Joylene, Tacia, even Aunt Shine setting herself up like chairwoman of the board. "Listen," I said. "This contract can change lives, but we play it clean. No bad-mouthing, no shortcuts. We win with excellence, not ego." Marcus pumped his fist. "Let's go get this bag." Aunt Shine gave him a side-eye. "Boy, this ain't a bag, it's a blessing." Everybody laughed, everybody except Tacia. She was sitting quiet, thumb twisting her bracelet. "You okay, baby?" I asked. She looked up slow. "Ora Mae, I need to tell you something before we go any further." Room got still. She took a breath. "I used to manage accounts for Bright Spark. Before everything went bad. I still got their old pricing sheets. I could show you what numbers they'll bid." Joylene's eyes widened. "Mama, that's an advantage!" Marcus grinned. "We could undercut 'em easy." I held up my hand. "Stop right there. We don't win dirty, ever." Tacia blinked fast. "I just thought—" "I know what you thought, but if we stoop to stealing, we don't deserve the win." Her face crumpled. "I ain't trying to steal, Ora Mae. I'm trying to make it right. They used me, fired me with nothing. I wanted to help you. I exhaled slow. Help me by staying honest. God don't bless shortcuts. He bless consistency. Aunt Shine nodded hard enough to shake her earrings. Tell 'em. That night, after everybody left, I sat alone staring at the bid forms. Part of me wanted to peek at those numbers she offered. Would have been so easy. But every floor I'd ever scrubbed whispered in my ear, don't trade your shine for somebody else's shadow. So I priced our bid fare, high enough to honor the work, low enough to compete, and slid it in the drop box before midnight. When I walked out that city hall door, wind cold on my cheeks, I felt lighter. Whatever happened next, my soul was clean. 2 weeks later, results posted online. My hands shook open in the link. Awarded to Ora's Cleaning Angels, LLC. I screamed so loud Ania came running. Grandma, you okay? Baby, I'm better than okay. I'm employing half the county. We jumped around the kitchen like we just hit the lottery. Next day at the office, celebration everywhere. Cupcakes, balloons, gospel music blaring. Tacia stood at the edge, tears glistening. I pulled her in for a hug. You thought I'd be mad you told me, huh? She sniffed. Yeah, I thought you'd never trust me again. I trust the God that fixed us, I said. You part of that fix. She smiled. Then let me make it official. I want to run the new contract division. Marcus choked on his punch. She serious? Tacia faced him. Serious as bleach on wine stains. I laughed. She earned it. Marcus, you handle logistics. Tacia handles operations. Joylene, you still my right hand. Let's build something bigger than all of us. Crew cheered. Even Marcus grinned. That night, when the office finally emptied, I sat on the porch outside, city lights blinking in the distance. Phone buzzed, text from the Bright Spark manager. Congrats on the win. Heard one of our former employees helped you. Guess tables do turn. I typed back, tables don't turn, they get cleaned. A week into the new contract, life moved like music. Vans rolling, payroll steady, phones ringing. But deep down, I knew something else was brewing. The secret wasn't just the bid. Tacia had one more truth she hadn't said. One late evening, she knocked on my office door. You got a minute? Always. She stepped in, shut the door behind her. I've been meaning to tell you. Before everything fell apart, my husband, he was the lawyer that handled your first apartment lease. Remember that rude one who underpaid you? My stomach dropped. That was him? She nodded. He used to brag about lowballing cleaners. Said folks like you didn't know your worth. I didn't stop him. I laughed along. Silence thickened, clock ticking loud. She wiped her eyes. When I saw you again, all I could think was how karma finally collected on me. I'm so sorry, Ora Mae. Not just for what I said back then, but for what I let happen. I leaned back, let her words settle. Then I said soft, you know what's funny? If he hadn't underpaid me, I'd have never chased independence. So maybe his greed sponsored my glory. She laughed through tears. You really built peace out of pain. Nah, I said. I just kept mopping till the shine showed. We sat there quiet a while, listening to the hum of the night. Finally, she asked, you ever get tired of forgiving folks? All the time, I said. But forgiveness don't mean letting people back in your kitchen. It just means you stop cooking poison for yourself. She nodded slow. I needed to hear that. The secret broke loose that day. Not just about who wronged who, but how mercy multiplies. We ain't what we lost. We what we learn. Success got a sound, you know? It ain't applause. It's vans rolling out before sunrise, invoices printing smooth, folks laughing in the break room. That's what the Angels' headquarters sounded like 6 months after we landed that city deal. Pure motion. I'd walk through the hall every morning, smelling coffee and fresh paper, hearing Joylene bark orders like a general. Marcus driving the new cargo van. Tacia signing clipboards, like she'd been running departments her whole life. We was moving so fast I forgot what quiet felt like. One Thursday, the mayor's office called about a press event, wanted me to speak. They said, Ms. Mae, we're spotlighting small black-owned businesses. Bring your team. I hung up, heart jumping. Then the nerves hit. Aunt Shine was the first person I told. She squealed. Girl, you gonna be on TV? I gotta find my church hat with the rhinestones. I laughed. It ain't that fancy, Auntie. Just a speech. Baby, anytime you speak truth in public, that's fancy enough. Day of the event, the crew gathered downtown, all dressed in new teal polos and khakis. I wore a cream blazer, first one I ever bought brand new. Tasia adjusted my mic. "You nervous?" I whispered, "A little." My tongue still remembers scrubbing floors more than speeches. She smiled. "Just talk like you do every day. Folks'll feel it." And she was right. When they called my name, I stepped to the podium, lights bright enough to warm my bones, and said, "I started cleaning houses because I had mouths to feed. I kept cleaning because I learned dignity don't come from titles. It come from doing right, even when folks look down on you." Crowd clapped, cameras flashing. Out the corner of my eye, I saw Marcus watching, arms crossed, half smile, hiding something. Afterward, reporters swarmed us. One young woman asked, "Ms. May, what's next for your company?" Before I could answer, Marcus jumped in. "Expansion. I'm heading operations in the new region." I blinked. "New region?" She jotted it down quick. Cameras clicked. I waited till we got to the van before I said a word. "Marcus, baby, what new region you talking about?" He shrugged. "The West Side contract. I've been working the contacts. Figured we could announce it early." I sighed. "You mean the bid you ain't discussed with me or your sister?" He met my eyes, stubborn. "Ma, you always say family business. I'm just taking initiative." "Initiative come with permission, not press releases." He looked away. "You don't trust nobody to lead but you." "Marcus." He slammed the van door and walked off. That night, I sat on the porch swing with the city lights blinking down the hill. Tasia called, "You okay?" I told her what happened. She hummed soft. "Sounds like pride hitting puberty again." I laughed. "You a fool." "Nah," she said. "I just been there. When folks finally see your worth, they want to prove theirs." "Maybe," I said, "but he forgetting the house we built got room for everybody." She paused. "You ever think about taking a step back? Let him stumble a little?" "I've been a mama too long to watch my child walk blind." "Sometimes they need bruises to remember balance," she said. Her words hung in the air like scripture. 2 weeks later, I found out Marcus had gone ahead anyway, printed flyers with Ora's Angels West Division, Director Marcus Jerome. Didn't even tell me. Joylene stormed into my office, waving one. "Mama, he out here acting like CEO." I rubbed my forehead. "Lord, give me strength not to snatch his car keys." Aunt Shine overheard. "Don't you worry, baby. God got a way of teaching fools in high places." Next morning, a city inspector showed up at the main site, said somebody filed a complaint that our safety gear didn't meet code. Guess who? A subcontractor Marcus hired under his West Division. The paperwork was a mess, wrong dates, missing signatures. City threatened to freeze the contract until we sorted it. My stomach dropped. One slip, and everything we built could unravel. I called Marcus. "Get down here now." He arrived 20 minutes later, smelling like coffee and guilt. "What happened?" he asked. "You tell me," I said. "You been signing papers you ain't authorized to sign?" He hesitated. "I just wanted to move faster." "Baby, speed don't fix what disobedience break." He rubbed his neck. I thought I was helping. "You help by listening. This ain't about control. It's about structure. I built this so you wouldn't have to fight the way I did." His voice cracked. Maybe I wanted to prove I could fight too. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then I said, "Son, I ain't mad, just hurt. You too smart to repeat other folks' mistakes." He looked down. "I'll fix it." "I know you will," I said, softer now. "Start by owning it." He nodded and walked off to the inspector. By evening, the issue cleared. Contract safe. But pride leaves residue, even after apology. I felt it sitting in my chest like dust after sweeping. You clean, but you still cough a little. That night, I called a staff meeting. Whole crew gathered in the break room. Tasia, Joylene, Aunt Shine, Marcus. I looked at each one. "Family don't mean perfect," I said. "It mean persistent. We fall, we clean it up, we move on. But from now on, every signature passed through my desk. That's order, not ego." Marcus nodded. "Understood." Tasia raised her cup. "To order." Everybody laughed. For the first time in weeks, the room felt light again. Later, when the others left, Tasia stayed behind. "You handled that better than most CEOs I ever worked for." I chuckled. "Girl, I ain't no CEO. I'm just the janitor that refused to quit." She shook her head. "Nah, Ora Mae, you the proof that grace got hands." Sometimes the reckoning don't come with thunder. Sometimes it whisper through paperwork and pride. Either way, you clean it up the same way, one honest stroke at a time. Rain started before sunset, hitting the roof like a drumline. Inside, I was going through invoices when the front door burst open. Marcus, soaked and mad. Tasha right behind him, arms crossed, eyes flashing. "Ma," he said, voice tight, "tell her she can't dock my pay." I blinked. "Excuse me?" Tasha planted a hand on her hip. He missed 2 safety meetings. I followed policy. Marcus pointed at her. "You trying to embarrass me in front of the crew?" She shot back. "Boy, you embarrass yourself showing up late with coffee and excuses." "Enough!" I snapped, standing. Thunder outside answered for me. They froze. I looked from one to the other. "This what we do now? Fight over paychecks in a company built on dignity?" Marcus exhaled hard. "Ma, she treat me like some rookie." "You act like one," Tasha muttered. "Say that again." I said, "Stop," I yelled. "Sit down, both of you." They sat, arms folded like rebellious teenagers. I paced slow, breathing deep. "Y'all forgot where we came from? We cleaned other folks' messes for pennies, remember? Ain't no room for ego in this family." Tasha's voice softened. "He left a chemical bottle uncapped, Ora Mae. A kid could have touched it." Marcus's head dropped. "It was one time. One time can cost lives," I said. "She right to report it." He looked up, hurt in his eyes. "So you taking her side?" "I'm taking the side of what's right." He shook his head. "You always got an answer for everything, huh? Maybe I ain't built for this. Maybe you should just let me go." My throat tightened. "If walking away help you find peace, I ain't stopping you, but don't leave thinking love left with you." He stood slow. "I need air." Door slammed. Rain swallowed him whole. Tasha sighed, rubbing her temples. "I didn't mean to start all that." "You didn't," I said. "Truth did." She stared out the window. "You think he'll come back?" I nodded. Pride just taking a lap. He'll be back before the puddles dry. 3 hours later, knock on the door. Marcus, shirt clinging, eyes red. "I'm sorry," he said before I could speak. "I was stupid. I could have hurt somebody. I just hate feeling like I'm still that kid disappointing you." I hugged him tight, rain dripping onto my floor. "Baby, you ain't disappointing me. You learning, same as the rest of us." He looked at Tasha, sorry for snapping. She smiled, tired. "We good. Next time you late, though, I'm still docking you." He laughed. "Fair." Next morning, the storm cleared, but the air still heavy with what we said and what we didn't. At the office, the crew noticed we quieter. Joylene whispered, "Everything cool, Mama?" "Cool enough," I said. "Sometimes you gotta shake the tree to see which fruit's still holding." Later that week, city inspectors made a surprise visit. Normally that'd rattle folks, but this time the team moved like clockwork. Every label correct, every checklist signed. When the lead inspector finished, he smiled. "Ms. May, y'all the cleanest operation in this city, literally." Soon as they left, the whole room cheered. Marcus high-fived Tasha. "Guess teamwork ain't so bad." She grinned. "Told you so." That evening, I hosted a small dinner at the house, just family and the senior crew. Table full of fried chicken mac, laughter loud enough to bounce off the walls. Mid-meal, Marcus clinked his glass. "I got something to say." Everyone quieted. He cleared his throat. "I been a fool. Thought success meant being the loudest in the room. But watching you, Ma, watching her, I learned real strength whisper." He nodded toward Tasha. "You kept me honest. Thank you." She raised her glass. "To growth, then." "To growth," we all echoed. Later, when the dishes were done and candles burning low, I stepped onto the porch. The air smelled like fresh rain and fried grease. Home. Tasha joined me, 2 mugs of tea in her hands. "Peace feels strange after chaos," she said. "Yeah," I chuckled, "like silence too loud." She sipped slow. "You ever think about what life would have been if that first day never happened? If I never mocked you?" I looked out at the dark yard. "Maybe I'd still be cleaning floors. Maybe you'd still be pretending you happy. Either way, we wouldn't know mercy like this." She nodded. "You forgave me quicker than I forgave myself." "That's 'cause I had practice. Life keep giving me chances to." We both laughed, soft, tired, grateful. The reckoning don't always roar. Sometimes it knocks polite, hands you a towel and says, clean up what's left. And when you do, you see yourself clearer in the shine. The week after that storm felt different. Air calmer, laughter softer, like the whole house remembered what peace cost. The business kept running, calls coming, invoices paid. But inside me, something had shifted. It wasn't pride or pain no more, it was clarity. I'd catch Marcus sometimes, staying late to help clean the vans, humming under his breath. Joylene taking extra shifts without complaining. And Tasha, Lord, that woman had turned into pure light. One afternoon, I watched her showing new hires how to polish brass handles. She wasn't barking orders or trying to prove nothing. She was teaching, slow and kind, the way I used to teach her. When one young girl spilled cleaner on her shoes, Tasha laughed instead of scolding. Don't worry, baby, she said. Even shine come with mistakes. I stood in the doorway smiling. She caught me watching. What? She said, blushing a little. Nothing, I said, just looking at a miracle that learned how to mop with grace. She laughed. Don't make me cry at work. That night, after the crew left, I sat in the office going through payroll when I found a small envelope on my desk. It said, for you, Ms. Ora Mae. Inside, 2 concert tickets, gospel revival tour, and a note, you always give. Tonight, let someone lift you. Signed, Taishia and Marcus. My eyes watered. I leaned back, looking up at the ceiling fan spin slow. Look at God, I whispered. He done turned my chaos into choir seats. We went that Friday. Me, Marcus, and Tasha, sitting in the second row, choir robes flashing gold under the lights. Voices rose so high I felt them in my bones. And when they sang, Take Me to the King, I saw tears roll down Marcus's cheeks. After the song, he leaned close. Ma, he said, I finally get it. You wasn't just cleaning floors all them years. You was cleaning us. I didn't answer, just squeezed his hand. Sometimes silence preach better than words. A few weeks later, the city held a banquet for community award winners. They called my name for Small Business of the Year. Rooms stood up clapping, cameras flashing. I walked that stage slow, heart thumping. But when they handed me that glass trophy, I didn't feel rich. Not money rich, soul rich. Back home that night, I set the award on the mantel beside family photos. Me and my babies, young and tired but still smiling. Anya's school picture crooked in the corner. I sat on the couch, hands folded, letting quiet wrap around me. Door creaked. Ania peeked in, wearing her unicorn pajamas. Grandma, you win something? I smiled. Yeah, baby. A fancy glass I gotta dust now. She giggled. Why they give it to you? I pulled her onto my lap. 'Cause I cleaned up messes nobody else would touch. And I kept cleaning till people saw more than dirt. They saw dignity. She tilted her head. You think I can be like you one day? I kissed her forehead. Nah, baby, you gon' be better. Next morning, we had a new client, private school downtown. When I walked in, marble floors shining, chandeliers hanging, I realized something crazy. I used to dream of owning a place like this. Now I was managing one. The janitor's daughter became the boss. And the woman who mocked me became my partner. That hit different. After the crew finished, we sat out back eating takeout sandwiches. Taishia turned to me. You ever feel like this all too good to be real? I smiled. All the time. But maybe good ain't supposed to feel easy. It's supposed to feel earned. She nodded. You're right. Still, I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. Let it, I said. We done learned how to clean up after storms. We laughed, the kind of laugh that comes from knowing pain been paid in full. Later that evening, Marcus came by with a folder. New expansion proposal, he said. This time I brought it to you first. I grinned. Look at my boy learning communication. He laughed. You think we can do it? Open another branch? Baby, I said, tapping his folder. Ain't nothing we can't do now that we cleanin' from the inside out. The fallout from the fight didn't break us. It polished us. Turns out, sometimes the dirt ain't outside. It's what life sprinkle in your spirit so you can see how bright you really glow once you wipe it clean. Night fell soft on my porch. Crickets humming like background singers, air thick with honeysuckle and leftover barbecue smoke. That porch swing creaked slow under me. Same rhythm it always had when I needed to think. I've been sitting out here most my life, counting bills, counting blessings, counting who stayed and who left. But tonight felt different. Peace done parked itself in my front yard and refused to leave. House lights glowed behind me. Joylene laughing with Ania over a board game, Marcus on the couch half asleep with the TV too loud, Tasha was helping fold laundry, Aunt Shine fussing about the proper way to fold towels. That sound right there? That's wealth. I leaned back, sipping my tea, talking low like the night could hear me. You see this, Lord? Look at what you did with nothing but mop water and second chances. When I close my eyes, I still see that younger me, hands cracked from bleach, back aching, heart heavy but steady. I remember the day Tasha stood on my porch, voice sharp as vinegar, calling me less than. And look at us now. Two women who cleaned up each other's pride. The screen door squeaked open. Tasha stepped out, wearing that faded hoodie she stole from Marcus last month. You out here talking to the moon again? She teased. I smiled. Somebody got to keep her company. She sat beside me, curling her legs up. Whole house smells like Joylene's cookies. I told her she need to start selling those. I said. She already talking about opening a bakery next door to our office, calling it Angel Treats. Tasha laughed. Y'all gonna run the whole block. I shrugged. Might as well, we already running our piece. For a minute we just listened to the night, neighbors' dogs barking, a train humming far away. Then she said, You ever miss the old days, before all this success? I took a breath. Sometimes. Back then life was simple. Hard, but simple. Now it's soft, but complicated. How you mean? Back then I only had one goal, survive. Now I gotta protect what we built, make sure it don't turn into another battlefield. She nodded. That's the thing about growing. You trade struggle for stewardship. I grinned. Girl, that sound like something Pastor Ray gon' quote Sunday. She chuckled, then got quiet. I still think about that day, she said. The first time I mocked you. How mean I sounded. I looked over. You done paid for that sin with service, baby. Let it rest. She shook her head. Nah, I'm just thankful you didn't throw me away. Throw you away? Shoot. You was part of the lesson. Every mess need a mirror. She wiped her eyes. You always gotta make wisdom sound poetic. Maybe poetry's just how survivors breathe, I said. Door opened again. Marcus poked his head out. Ma, you got a minute? Always. He stepped onto the porch, holding a small box. I've been working on something for you. He handed it over. Inside was a gold-plated keychain shaped like a mop and bucket, tiny letters engraved, built from nothing. I laughed till tears came. Lord, this boy done turned my trauma into jewelry. He grinned. Figured you could hang it on your office keys, reminder that you already rich. Tasha smirked. You better trademark that slogan. Marcus winked. Already filed paperwork. We all cracked up, real laughter, not that polite kind. When the chuckles faded, I looked at both of them. You know, I used to pray y'all would just get along. Never thought God would make y'all partners instead. Marcus shrugged. Guess he knew we needed each other more than we liked each other. Funny how heaven keep good sense, I said. They both nodded. Silence settled again, this time easy, full. Camera pans wide, porch bathed in gold light, wind stirring the trees. Voiceover Ora Mae. I ain't measure wealth by dollars no more. I measure it by peace that don't leave when the lights cut off. Marcus yawned, heading inside. Y'all don't stay up too late. Tasha followed, stretching. Good night, Ma. And hey, if you ever need me to clean this porch, I got you. I laughed. Girl, I done retired from sweeping other folks' dirt, porch included. She winked. Then I'll sweep it for both of us. Door closed, quiet returned. I looked out at the night sky again, stars blinking lazy. Somewhere down the street, a radio played an old soul record. And for the first time in decades, I ain't feel tired. I whispered, We did it, Lord. We cleaned our way into freedom. Maybe life ain't about how much dirt you scrub off floors. Maybe it's about how much you scrub off your heart. 'Cause when that shine finally show, baby, you gon' see every reflection you ever prayed for. If you felt something in this story, don't just click away, now. Hit that subscribe button, come sit with me again. I got plenty more porch tales where this one came from, 'cause around here, every mess got a memory and every shine got a story. Next morning, sun crawled up slow through the curtains like a shy guest. The house smelled of coffee and cinnamon rolls, Joylene already up, humming some old gospel under her breath. I tied my robe, stepped into the kitchen, and just watched them. Marcus fixing the leaky faucet, Tasha packing Ania's lunch, Aunt Shine fussin' that the butter too cold to spread. There was laughter, a little noise, a lot of love. That right there, that was legacy breathin'. I poured my coffee and leaned against the counter. Y'all remember when this kitchen didn't even have a curtain rod? Marcus laughed. And when the fridge door used to squeak like a haunted house? Joylene snorted. Back then we was holdin' that door shut with duct tape. We laughed till tears came. Tatia wiped her eyes. Crazy part is, none of this look fancy, but it feels rich. I nodded. 'Cause it is rich, baby. Rich ain't about marble floors or shiny cars. It's the freedom to wake up knowing peace live in your house. After breakfast, we loaded up for church. The new van gleamed in the driveway, logo fresh, letters proud, Ora's Angels Cleaning and Care. Even Mr. Harmon was waiting by his mailbox, hat tilted, bouquet of wildflowers in his hand. He waved. Mornin', Miss May. Y'all look like Prosperity Sunday. I smiled. Mornin', Mr. Harmon. You bringin' them flowers for the church or for my porch? He grinned. Guess you'll find out after service. Aunt Shine fanned herself. Lord, I told you that man's still sweet on you. Let him be, I said, blushin'. Every garden need bees. At church, Pastor called me up front again. Sister Ora Mae, tell us how God turned scrub water into favor. I held the mic, heart thumping. All those faces, neighbors, old clients, kids who used to watch me walk to the bus stop with my mop bucket. I ain't special, I said. I just kept cleaning when life got messy. If you keep doing right long enough, right gon' recognize you. The room hollered, Amen. Mr. Harmon clapped loudest. After service, outside on the steps, Tatia whispered, You ever think of writing these sermons down? I laughed. Nah, baby. My pulpit's a mop handle. She grinned. Well, you preach better than half the preachers I know. Weeks rolled by, easy and full. We expanded again. New branch, new vans, uniforms crisp teal with silver stitching. City started sending other entrepreneurs to me for advice. I'd tell them all the same thing. Start with what's in your hands. Keep it clean, keep it honest, and don't let shame talk louder than purpose. One evening, I sat on that same porch swing, this time with Ania curled beside me, her head on my arm. Fireflies blinked in the yard like little memories. Grandma, she said, when I grow up, I want to own a company too. I smiled. You can, baby. What kind of company? She thought a second. A sparkle company. We make things shine. I laughed. Then you already halfway there? The door creaked open again. Mr. Harmon stepped out, hat in his hands. Brought you something, he said. An old record player, polished like new. Found it at a thrift shop. Figured you'd like the sound of history singin'. He set it down, placed a vinyl on top. Needles hissed, then Al Green's voice filled the air. Lord, I chuckled, you trying to get me nostalgic. He smiled, just reminding you joy still got rhythm. We danced right there on that porch, slow, quiet, two souls who'd seen enough sorrow to appreciate a soft song. Aunt Shine peeked through the curtain, smirking. I told y'all. As the record faded, I sat back down, breathing the night. Life funny like that. You spend years cleaning up after other folks, then one day realize God was using every spill, every stain, every heartache to polish you. Some folks think stories end when the pain stop. Nah, baby, that's when the lessons start. You keep learning, keep loving, keep cleaning the little corners of your soul till they shine. And when you finally see that glow looking back at you, you gon' realize you ain't been surviving. You've been becoming. Now, if this story touched you even a little, go on and join the Porch family. Hit that subscribe, leave me a note down below, tell me what part spoke to your heart. I'll be right here next Saturday with another tale from the house that Grace built. 'Cause baby, these ain't just stories. They reminders that every mess got a meaning.